Today on Ag Etc., we have another new technology feature for you. Kyle Bauer is joined by Mark Swanson, Operations Manager of Concordia Tractor, and Dave Thiessen, Combine Service Manager at Prairieland Partners. They talked to us about the plan to merge the two companies and the most recent tech gear in combines. So enjoy this extended series on technology on today's show. Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Hi, I'm Mark Swanson. I am actually with CTI, Concordia Tractor right now. But as you guys have probably heard, we're merging with Prairieland. That will be effective January 7th. But as you can see, we're working together. And also, as you can see, the name of the new company will be Prairieland Partners. I'm going to let Dave talk a little bit about himself. But I will be the Northern Region Manager, which I think we're going to call the Valley, going forward. So I will inherit a few of the Prairieland stores as well as the CTI stores.
Dave Thiessen with Prairieland Partners. My emphasis is aftermarket support, and my emphasis is combines and helping you support your machine while you're in the field in the harvest if you've got questions. So we really appreciate the opportunity that Kansas State Fair and KFRM Radio has given us here today to present on the S770 combine, and the innovation and the technology is what we've put around that machine. And so we'll start off there with the machine. You know, the combine in the 1800s started to come together where they took cutting, threshing, and separating and pulled that into one machine, and that made the farmer and the operator more efficient at what he was doing. And so they had less labor hours per acre that they were doing to harvest the crop. Well, in the 1930s, John Deere started getting involved in the combine. Up to that point, they'd been building binders. And in 1930, they started putting together combines and developing that technology. And what you have here today with the S770 is the machine capabilities of the technology we've stacked. One of the items that we'll talk about here is on that machine that we have sitting here today is the technology of self-adjusting. It's got a camera system on the clean grain elevator and a camera system on the tailings elevator, and those cameras analyze the grain as it's going through clean grain and tailings. It's looking for foreign material, grain tank, quality and sample of that grain, and broken kernels. And based on your inputs of what you put into it at the level of the beginning of the harvest with what you want to do for grain quality and choices of losses on the ground and that type of items, the cameras take over, analyze that crop, and start to make adjustments to that machine. We have 5 adjustments that we work with. We work with adjusting the concave, the rotor speed, cleaning fan speed, the chaffer, and the sieve are all adjusted based on that, analyzing that crop off of that inputs of that threshing going on. And then also, we with that pulls away one of the items that the operator has to be concerned about and is dealing with. And once we get that grain tank sample and everything in place that we like, then we have active yield. That's been a new feature that's added to this machine in 2017. And this is a 2018 machine. But the active yield is actually where we start to take the mass flow reading that we use for yield accuracy, yield mapping in the past, and we put 3 sensors in the grain tank, and those 3 sensors then communicate with the mass flow sensor, and together they come up with the accuracy of what grain that machine is harvesting.
To see this show and past episodes of Ag AM in Kansas, go online to agamandkansas.com.
The new Better Horses Network is worldwide. Presented by Lucas Oil. Featuring worldwide radio and TV with iconic hosts like Al Dunning, Sharon Camarillo, Ernie Rodina, Lindy Birch, and Craig Cameron. With American Cowboy, Horse and Rider, Brushy Creek, Cavenders, and Ride TV. Worldwide radio and TV. The all-new Better Horses Network.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Wheat. Learn more at rediscoverwheat.org.
So between the three sensors in the grain tank, kind of weighing and seeing how that pile is forming underneath the fountain auger, and the mass flow sensor, those three together start to work and making that yield accurate. Once we get the yield accuracy dialed in to where we want it, then we have on our display, we have our yield maps that are collecting data the whole time that machine is operating. And with those yield maps, when that satellite imagery started to come out, and we started to use satellites in the 1990s to use for auto steer to drive our tractors and drive the combines. When we started integrating that into it, that's when technology started to allow the operator and the dealership or the John Deere to pinpoint in that field where that bushel of grain was harvested and put that and locate that in that yield map. And so that is another way we've expanded on that active yield and all the features of the harvesting to eliminate some items that the customer has to worry about with the operation of that machine.
So I think it's pretty exciting that now I can see the return, because I'm old enough that when I learned to run a combine, one of the things my dad taught me was you look at how much you're returning, what you're returning, and you can make adjustments based on that. So this has taken this to a new level to where the operators don't have to have the experience that those of us that come from the older generation do in setting a combine. And the ability to, even for us that know how to set it, Dave and I, it is nice to be able to see those pieces of that information. So we think it's a significant step forward, but then I can take my 13-year-old son, and he understands the electronics of the combine better than I do, and he can be as good of an operator as Dave and I because of the machine maintaining the adjustments, maybe even better, because I'll be honest with you, I get lazy during the day and don't adjust it as much as I should. And this is allowing the combine to make adjustments literally constantly throughout the day as conditions change. Now, if you see a green spot in front of you, the combine does not see that until it's in it. So it's still somewhat of an operator function, but it's amazing what it can do. And we've had them out running. We did find that in north central Kansas, the interactive adjust at 15 bushel, there's not enough to fill the combine. So it did not do a ton of adjustments when the combine is not near capacity. So it's much better in high quality, high performing crops than it is going to be in a lower yielding situation. But obviously at 15 bushel, we all know that we were farming for the insurance, unfortunately, instead of the yield. The other piece that I might add, and Dave and I both talk about, is the operations center, where the data from that combine can flow via the cellular network into the cloud and capture your yield data.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but yet we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we're glad to answer it and work with you.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Segment brought to you by Sure Crop. Liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
With the new combine, the amount of data that it's able to capture with the new Gen 4, I'm going to call it computer system, but Green Star system, that captures the amount of data that machine can capture, builds a much better yield map. The active combine adjusts, active yield adjust, makes your yield maps very accurate. I maybe adjust my yield sensor on my 70 series combine one time a season. I do it once for wheat, once for corn, and once for beans.
And when you do that, what do you have to do then when you get home?
So then when it goes into my operations center, I have to take my scale tickets. I have to weigh it up. Okay, it made 23.2. The combine said it made 30.1. I have to adjust that because I didn't get my yield accuracy done correctly the first time, or something changed during the harvest. With this active yield adjustment, the combine is literally doing that all the time. And if you get on a big slope and the load shifts in the bin, it just kicks that bin out and does the next one and uses the last calibration. So it is a very amazing advancement as far as we're concerned from the accuracy of the yield data.
Yeah, we're finding our customers that don't want to stop and do a manual weight of the crop off the grain cart, if that's how they do it, or take a truck to town and come back with that data and enter it. That takes time. And so without that in the equation of the harvest day, that active yield automatically, when you start harvesting, starts collecting that data and starts dialing in the accuracy, taking away that need to delay your harvest day and increasing your accuracy with those yield maps. Because the yield maps are so important today for future operations and evaluating and understanding your soil types.
Because as we advance in this world, the Operations Center gives you the ability to see planting population, variety, speed of the planter, so many things that you can use so you can see what yielded the best, what time of planting was the most beneficial. So it's given us more data, more accuracy of the data from the combine, so we can make better informed decisions as we go forward. And with today's precision ag, the ability to variable rate every product, for sure, fertilizer and seeds through the system, we have found that people are spending less on fertilizer or the same, but getting more yield because they're putting it where they need it and where the ground has capability to yield, not just one uniform rate across the farm.
Exactly. One thing too with that Combine Advisor package and that self-adjusting machine, many of us have mobile devices today that we use, and John Deere has been working very hard and has a lot of mobile apps, John Deere App Center. I'd encourage you to go out there and take a look. So if you can't own a 770 machine, and you might own even an off-color machine, we're not colorblind, but this app in here for John Deere App Center is got Go Harvest. And Go Harvest app will help you go through and look at your machine settings and advise you on what maybe you need to change next, maybe increasing the fan speed by 50 RPM to try that. It's a setup to walk you through and help you through your daily harvesting questions, because like Mark talked about, you might get comfortable with where it's set and kind of leave it set that way for the day. But if you really pay attention to the humidity and the day and the varieties of grain you're harvesting, and sometimes like now we've got some droughty corn, it's a little bit harder to thresh, it's going to look at that and start to adjust for it, because you might be going over a hilltop And that corn is stressed, but down in the valley it had adequate moisture and it's better yield, and it constantly is adjusting to help overcome and offset that.
I dug trees by hand for years and years and years. In the process, I wore out my rotating cuff. But when I learned about this process, I thought if there was a way to get rid of this pain, then I wanted to do it. So we did it, and it worked. I'm not going to go out and dig trees with a shovel anymore, but I can do the things that I want to do now.
Hi, I'm Kim Mandarin with Hardy Insurance. I'm here to help you with all of your farm and ranch needs. When it comes to protecting your operation and your family, you need a name you can trust at a price you can afford. Call me today or visit hardyaviationins.com.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
And one thing Dave and I might point out is that this combine is going to adjust based on the baseline that you say is acceptable. So you still have to initially set the combine for the losses, the grain tank sample that you want, and then it will maintain that through the day. So the operator is still in control of what's going to happen by setting that baseline. It's just automating the adjustments throughout the day.
Yep, exactly, Mark. That's perfect. So with that integrated into the machine, John Deere came out with the Gen 4. You'd mentioned it just a little bit there, Mark.
Right.
The Gen 4 display is now on every platform of piece of equipment that John Deere is producing.
That is correct. It will be in the windrower in 2019. So it's in everything but the windrower today. And that 4600 is like upgrading your home computer dramatically, because we were in the 2630, which I don't remember exactly what year it came out, Dave, but we've basically taken a late, like a 2007 or a 2008 computer and updated it to 2018. So that gives you guys an idea of the processing power of the new generation of software and equipment that we have.
So on that new Gen 4 display, you used to have to go purchase maybe your auto steer and your
section control, your row sense, all of these different activations based on what you wanted to do. So now with the new ones, you buy that package, and if you're never going to run a planter or a sprayer with it, you don't have to buy that activation in that piece of equipment. So it's you can buy it. They've bundled it together. They've made it more affordable for us, which is nice for us to be able to come to you guys and say, hey, we've got something that's cheaper than it used to be. And so we're excited about that capability.
And the other thing we find is our operators are enjoying that, because that display is equal then on all the platforms of equipment. And so then when they crawl in from one machine to the next, maybe once or twice a day, they're not having to relearn a new display or understand how that display works. It's the Gen 4. They understand how it's going to function and how that machine is set up around that. And it's really built around the apps of how to operate that machine.
And the Gen 4 is more user-friendly than the 2600 and the 2630. So as we have developed the software and the run pages, it is more intuitive on how they work. It's a nice advancement. For those of you that are familiar with AutoTrack, you plant your perimeter, and then this one has, if you want to run a straight track, this is the straight track that will leave you the least amount of overlap. Just some simple things that have made it much nicer for the operator.
Tarwater Farm and Home is a 40-year-old local family-owned business. Clothing for work and play, seeds and feeds, boots, toys for the kids, and tools you'll need for around the house and farm. And a service department to keep them in top running order. It's a big store, so take some time to see what they have for your farm and home. Tarwater's everyday pricing is like others' sale prices. When you need it, they've got it. Tarwater Farm and Home, 4107 North Topeka Boulevard. This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Exactly. And then when at the end of the day or during the day you get done with a field, or at the end of the day you want to take that data and collect it, and you know sometimes the data gets stored on the displays that we've had in the past, and we had to take and put a jump drive in or push it somehow out of the display. This one is integrated into the JD Link system today, that at the end of the day or the end of the field, if you want to push that data to the cloud, and then you want to go to your home computer or your mobile device and pull that information back out and start looking at it and evaluating it after harvest, it's already in the cloud. It's been pushed up there. You don't have to be concerned where it stayed or how it stayed. It's in the operations center, and John Deere provides that.
And it's protected, it's safe, it's your data, you know, so all of the things that might be of concern, John Deere is protecting that. They treat it as my data if it's from my farm or Dave's from his farm. And the other thing Dave mentioned was the JD Link. So when that combine that's sitting out there is running through the field, you can monitor the speed, the fuel consumption, basically any setting that you can see outside of air conditioning. The functionality of the combine, you can see those things. Those are obviously recorded, so you can see I've got two 770s running out there. Dave's combine is cutting 21 acres an hour. Mine's cutting 19. What's Mr. Swanson doing that he's not maximizing the use of that combine? Or, you know, you want to make changes so my combine matches Dave's. You can call me and I can do it from the cab, or you can do it from the aisle. It also helps us when there's a code thrown on the machine that is sent to the service manager at your location where it's registered. So my combine would be registered in Abilene. So the service manager in Abilene would get a notice that, hey, Swanson's out of the seat again, or Swanson's low on DEF and he needs to get some put in, or it's going to shut the combine down.
The other neat thing about that expert alerts, and John Deere is focusing it around the engines because John Deere manufactures their own engines, so they know they're using that engine on all these product lines. So they started there at Engine Works first. The other nice thing about those expert alerts and those proactive alerts is it will send us a message through the technical support center, and it'll tell us what part we're going to need, what we need to look for when we get there to diagnose it, and how to fix it with those air codes. And so that's really been a good proactive way to simplify the diagnostics for our technicians and help you get back up in the field and get you back to going sooner.
And we've seen advantage to our customers that are custom harvesters, custom forage harvesters that are in Texas harvesting, for example. They're having a code come up. We are able to remotely access their Gen 4 screen and look and see exactly what is occurring. So we are able to solve some of those problems remotely without having to go, or, hey, we think this sensor's going bad, we're going to ship it to you, put it on. If it doesn't fix it, we'll be down. So we can save them cost as well. Right now, John Deere gives that away for the 5 years when you buy a new piece of equipment, the JD Link. The data transfer, the harvest data flowing to the cloud, or the planting data flowing up from the planter, that is free for a year. But when I first started doing that, it cost me about $1,000 a year. It is now down to $200 a year. So even that has come down dramatically in price.
The other thing is, Mark, I don't know how many times maybe you've sat at the edge of the field and you were just in a kind of one of those stuck questions that you go, well, I don't know what the next item I need to punch. You call the dealership and the dealership answers the phone and you say, I'm on this screen, and he says, go ahead and touch this button, and you touch the wrong button and we lose track of where you're at. We hear this beep, 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 beep in the background, but we don't know what page you're on. Well, with this data, this sharing through JD Link and that screen sharing, we can then go on our computers on our desktops or our laptop or mobile device, and we can look at what screen you're on and say, if you tried using this other button, this would be the one to help you get going. We didn't even have to leave the dealership on a service call. We didn't have to go out and run out to see that gentleman and help him. We were able to get him going that much quicker.
Very quickly get him back up and running. So we call it remote display access, and we have remote service advisor now that our service managers can look in and kind of see the recorded history of the errors or the codes, so they are more prepared when they show up. Well, in wrap up here, I'd like to say that we really appreciate what
the Kansas State Fair and KFRM Radio has put together here. And as Prairieland, we would like to say thank you.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.